Okay, now I'm on to my real question. My whole life, I've been quiet and I really keep to myself, and I really want to change that and be sort of loud and exciting and have fluent conversations, basically, but whenever I have conversations, it kind of cuts off and I draw a blank and nothing comes out of it. So
you're really going to like this conversation that we have here, because there is a vibrational reason for that. So first we want to draw your attention to these discs that we have been talking about. So imagine that you have been awakening and feeling good, and you've been focusing on feeling good, and you've been practicing words that feel good and practicing thoughts that feel good. So you have some good momentum going in your own dialogue, and that momentum feels very strong and clear to you because you've tapped into this current that is the source within you. And so it's worth acknowledging that when you tap into that, it can be sort of wordless, because think about the feeling of love and then try to describe it. The words fall far short of the feeling of it. So you're interpreting emotions viscerally, and in many cases there just are not enough words. That's why poets are around trying to put words to feelings. So it's worth acknowledging for yourself that you can get into that good feeling of alignment, and sometimes words almost detract from it because they are bulky and cumbersome in relationship to the refinement of that pure positive energy. So we took a little side trail there. So let's come back to the idea that you are on this high-flying disc and you've been there for a while, you're stable on it, and now you're moving out into your day. Now, law of attraction will bring you together with others who are in that same vicinity, and so you'll meet strangers. Esther has been saying lovingly and somewhat kidding, but really with a little bit of seriousness in it, I've figured out this high-flying disc thing, and I'm really good when I'm by myself. When I'm by myself, I'm soaring, and nature comes and soars with me. The hummingbird comes and does loop-de-loops and loop-de-loops in front of me. And so I'm really good when I'm by myself. And strangers, I've got the stranger thing down pretty good too. It's just all those people that I know that I don't fly quite as high with, because I've got some old pipes with some of them, and so I'm not quite as stable. So as you acknowledge that you're on that high-flying disc, so let's say you're on that high-flying disc and you're feeling really good, but there's someone in your life that you feel a sort of responsibility to. It could be a friend, it could be a mother, it could be a lover, it could be anyone, but it's someone that you feel responsible to have a conversation with, and they are, for whatever reason, not on the high-flying disc. Let's say they're ornery, or they're worried about something, or they're fearful about something, or they're worried about something. That's a common place to find people. So there you are. Now you're on your high-flying disc and they aren't. And now you want to have a conversation with them. You don't have words for them. One of two things has to happen for it to be a satisfying conversation. Either they've got to come up where you are, or you've got to go down where they are. And so you've sort of developed a sort of stubbornness of not being willing to do that. And that's what made our friend talk about how sometimes it feels lonely. But you only feel lonely if you're not consistently sustaining your own momentum. If you sustain that high frequency momentum, we promise you, you won't be lonely. You'll be surrounded by others who are as robust and as eager about life as you are. And the conversations flow. Here's another way of looking at it. The other day, Esther was having a conversation with someone. Something in the conversation triggered a story she always tells. And so she tried to tell the story, but she couldn't get the words out. She was just stuttering all over the place. And then she realized, this is not a high-flying disc story. I'm not introducing it because law of attraction delivered it to me. I'm introducing it because something in the conversation, something about the subject made it seem like it fit. When you're following the impulse from your alignment, what fits feels better. Now, let's start again. If Esther is hanging around on lower discs, those stories are easy to tell. But now she's consistently been hanging around on this high-flying disc. It's like the jokes that used to be really funny, that were at someone else's expense, aren't funny anymore. because they don't fit with the vibration that she's been practicing. You see what we're getting at? So that's what's happening to you. So what are we saying to you? Get on that high-flying disc and have as many conversations as you feel inspired to have, and never try to force yourself in any conversation that isn't flowing easily.